Please remember to hit subscribe if you want to support what I do, if you want to see me again. If you like this, then give me a thumbs up. Don't forget, help me get boosted in the algorithm. Help other people find my content. All right, let's get started. I think this is going to be the last section of the book. This is James Clark Maxwell, selection from Molecules in Nature 8, 1873, from page 437 to page 441, excuse me. In italics it reads, originally delivered as a lecture to the British Association at Bradford, this essay proposes that atoms are the most enduring and stable components of a universe designed by God, intriguingly blending Epicurean physics with more traditional Christian theology. Between the two, it's the latter that has fared better as a way of understanding the world. The former collapsed shortly after this lecture was delivered, in part, ironically, on the basis of what Einstein learned from Maxwell's own discoveries. And it begins, ... Take any portion of matter, say a drop of water, and observe its properties. Like every other portion of matter we have ever seen, it is divisible. Divided in two, each portion appears to retain all the properties of the original drop, and among others, that of being divisible. The parts are similar to the whole in every respect except in absolute size. Now, go on repeating the process of division until the separate portions of water are so small that we can no longer perceive or handle them. Still, we have no doubt that the subdivision might be carried further, if our senses were more acute and our instruments more delicate. Thus far, all are agreed, but now the question arises, can this subdivision be repeated forever? According to Democritus, and the atomic school, we must answer in the negative. After a certain number of subdivisions, the drop will be divided into a number of parts, each of which is incapable of further subdivision. We should thus, in imagination, arrive at the atom, which, as its name literally signifies, cannot be cut in two. This is the atomic doctrine of Democritus, Epicurus and Lucretius, and I may add, of your lecturer. And this is another part of the letter, which begins, when Lucretius wishes us to form a mental representation of the motion of atoms, he tells us to look at a sunbeam shining through a darkened room, the same instrument for research by which Dr. Tyndall makes visible to us the dust we breathe, and to observe the motes which chase each other in all directions through it. This motion of visible motes, he tells us, is but a result of the far more complicated motion of the invisible atoms, which knock the motes about. In his dream of nature, as Tennyson tells us, he saw the flaring atom streams and torrents of her myriad universe running along the illimitable inane, fly on to clash together again and make another and another frame of things forever. And it is no wonder that we should have attempted to burst the bonds of fate by making his atoms deviate from their course at quite uncertain times and places, thus attributing to them a kind of irrational free will, which on his materialistic theory, the only explanation of that power of voluntary action of which we ourselves are conscious. Thank you for the laughing disco. Gade loves, thank you. Thank you everybody for watching. Stick around and listen. Okay, this is another section yet again, which reads, each molecule, therefore, throughout the universe, bears impressed on it the stamp of a metric system as directly as those of the meter of the archives at Paris. or the double royal cubits of the Temple of Karnak. No theory of evolution can be formed to account for the similarity of molecules, for evolution necessarily implies continuous change, and the molecule is incapable of growth or decay, of generation or destruction. None of the processes of nature, since the time when nature began, have produced the slightest difference in the properties of any molecule. We are therefore unable to ascribe either the existence of the molecules or the identity of their properties to the operation of any of the causes which we call natural. Hello, Emmanuel Gidlund. Let me see. Okay. Each molecule, therefore, throughout the universe bears impressed on it the stamp of metric system as distinctly as does the meter of the archives of Paris and or the double royal cubit of the Temple of Karnak. No theory of evolution can be formed to account for the similarity of molecules, for evolution necessarily implies continuous change, and the molecule is incapable of growth or decay or generation or destruction. None of the processes of nature since the time when nature began have produced the slightest difference in the properties of any molecule. We are therefore unable to ascribe either the existence of the molecules or the identity of their properties to the operation of any of the causes which we call natural. On the other hand, the exact quality of each molecule to all others of the same kind gives it, Sir John Herschel has well said, the essential character of a manufactured article, and precludes the idea of being eternal and self-existent. Thus, we have been led along a strictly scientific path, very near to the point at which science must stop. Not that science is debarred from studying the internal mechanism of a molecule, which we cannot take to pieces, any more than from investigating an organism which cannot be put together. Which she cannot put together. But in tracking back the history of matter, science is arrested when she assures herself on the one hand that the molecule has been made, and on the other, that it has not been made by any other processes we call natural. Science is incompetent to reason upon the creation of matter itself out of nothing. We have reached the outmost limit of our thinking faculties when we have admitted that because matter cannot be eternal and self-existent, it must have been created. It is only when we contemplate not matter in itself, but the form in which it actually exists, that our minds find something on which it can lay hold. That matter, as such, should have certain fundamental properties, that it should exist in space and be capable of motion, that its motion should be persistent, and so on, are truths which may, for anything we know, be the kind which metaphysicians call necessary. We may use our knowledge of such truths for purposes of deduction, but we have no data for speculating as to their origin. But that there should be exactly so much matter and no more. No more in every molecule of hydrogen is a fact of a very different order. We have here a particular distribution of matter, a collocation, to use the expression of Dr. Chalmers, of things which have no difficulty in imagining to have been arranged otherwise. The form of dimensions, or the orbits of the planets, for instance, are not determined by any law of nature, but depend upon a particular collocation of matter. The same is the case with respect to the size of the Earth, from which the standard of what is called the metrical system has been derived. But these astronomical and terrestrial magnitudes are far inferior in scientific importance to that most fundamental of all standards, which forms the base of the molecular system. Natural causes, as we know, are at work, which tend to modify, if they do not at length destroy, all the arrangements and dimensions of the Earth and the whole solar system. But though in the course of the ages catastrophes have occurred and may yet occur in the heavens, though ancient systems may be dissolved and new systems evolved out of their ruins, the molecules out of which these systems are built, the foundation stones of the material universe, remain unbroken and unworn. Hello, Carrie. They continue this day as they were created, perfect in number and measure and weight, and from the ineffable characters impressed on them, we may learn that those aspirations are after accuracy in measurement, truth in statement, and justice in action, which we reckon among our noblest attributes as men, are ours because they are essential constituents of the image of Him who in the beginning created not only the heaven and the earth, but the materials of which heaven and earth consist. And we have finished the book, you all. Thank you for reading with me. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for your super chats and your gifts. I love you. Thank you for your thumbs up. Thank you for subscribing. And if you haven't subscribed, don't forget to subscribe. Hit that bell notification button so you won't miss a beat. So every time I post or I go live, you'll find out. I will read for you one of the other books that we're already reading, since we have already finished this one, and I will start searching for a new book to read. And since this is the last chapter of Gateway to the Epicureans, anybody that likes this topic, you are more than welcome to leave me in the comments your suggestion for the next book I should read. All right, if you want to hear more philosophical books, let me know, okay? I'll buy it or I'll find it in the library. Take care, be safe, everybody.